Fellow workers, ladies and gentlemen, I can never stop saying thank you to you for having spared your valuable time to listen to me and to watch me explain a number of things that I believe are going to help the workers of Uganda to gain their social and economic empowerment. Why must I continue speaking? I speak so that the environment under which workers are working is made better. I speak so that workers can be able to effectively claim for what rightfully belongs to them. I speak so that policies can be formulated in such a way that will help the workers realize their long-term goals so that they can fulfill their purposes here on earth. We believe that when we do work, we do not do work for fun. We do work so that we can be able to derive financial benefits. For what purpose? Financial benefits to help us advance those things that matter most to us. What matters most to us is not simply working for somebody. What matters most to the workers of Uganda is what it is that you derive from your work to be able to come and implement your purposes, things that constitute your purposes here on earth. So it should not be sufficient that one gets employment and then you say, I have achieved. No, you haven't achieved anything yet. You have just simply got a job. The job is helping you to drive a financial benefit. That financial benefit comes to really help you do exactly what you must do. Whether you are working for government, whether you are working for an employer somewhere, you are working so that you can be able to derive financial benefits to help you fulfill your purposes here on earth. It does not mean that the purposes of your employer, the agenda of your employer is not necessarily your agenda. So if you pursue the agenda of the employer and you end up failing to pursue your own agenda here on earth, then you are really a failure. And the way our minds have been indoctrinated in the past, we have been made to believe things in a wrong way. And we end up functioning like that forever, only to end up being very disappointed. I've already told you that in many cases, when the worker reaches the end of his journey here on earth and he is going to be laid to rest as he is being put at his ancestral or her ancestral home, many cases you see nothing else but misery. Misery, disappointment, and as a result you find people wailing, crying, and having a sense of disappointment because really you have not achieved that which you thought you should have achieved while you were here on earth. And as I speak about these things, I've told you that because we have had wrong beliefs in the past, we have conducted ourselves in a particular way. Right now, we really do not want to continue conducting ourselves in the way we conducted ourselves before when we didn't know. If anybody will not now listen and do what is going to help him or her, then really the problem is going to be yours. But for me, I'm here to explain to you the wrong beliefs that we have had in the past. The wrong beliefs that we have had and that have led us to behave in a particular way. For one to think that for me to succeed, I must be an employee of government. And you work for government until finally you die working for government. Government remains. For you who has died, who has ended, you end with nothing. I've looked at government employees finally ending up really very miserable people. Even when they retire from employment, they are confused. They don't know what to do. Why? Because of the wrong mindset. A lot of energy has been wasted on things which do not matter. We must be able to address these things right now that we are still in employment. And I want to encourage all workers of Uganda to start this, to join this platform and follow this up to the very end, because I'm beginning to unpack certain facts what a certain man, I think in Kenya, there is a man in Kenya called Professor Mutahi Ngunyi. For him, he calls it damaging ignorance. Although this is a very difficult job to do, but we must be able to unpack the lies, the deception, the misbeliefs that have made us to behave the way we have behaved over the years, with a view that we are going to progress when we are actually implementing activities based on wrong beliefs. That one, as workers of Uganda, we must change. I've already told you in my past explanation that it is wrong for you to believe that you are going to get social and economic empowerment from government. That one, please forget that one. You will not be socially and economically empowered as a result of implementation of government activities. If you go ahead and focus on that one, you are misguided. You as an individual, it will not happen. The government may itself progress. The leaders of government may think, yes, we have moved from A to B, but for you as an individual, when you evaluate yourself, you'll find yourself retarded. You'll find yourself, maybe you have even moved several steps backward. You have not got anything. And because some people have ended up with that kind of belief, they end up even stealing from government. And when they steal from government and they do 1 or 2, 3 things, they think they have succeeded. No. Those are not the kind of examples I want to refer to as successful workers. I am talking about people who are working, who make their money, they progress, and they fulfill their purposes, the purpose of their existence here on earth. I'm not talking about the people who simply act strategically to take government positions and steal from government, then go and do certain things which are not even useful. Those ones will not like me when I'm explaining these issues, but they are very few. It's a very small number. They may not even reach 1,000. When you look at the entire workforce in Uganda, they may, okay, let's say 5,000. But I'm talking about millions of workers in Uganda. I'm not just talking about the 5,000 who may be benefiting from that kind of mentality. We must be able to shift. If I'm working for government, I'll work for government like I'm working for any other employer. But for a given period of time, I'll graduate and move to another level. As I'm going to start explaining these issues step by step on how we are going to move to liberate ourselves from exploitation. If you want to continue being exploited, it is your own choice. I have no problem, because it is your right to spend your time, to do whatever you want to do in the way you want. But as far as I'm concerned, those who may not know, I wouldn't want to see you continuing in a system that is constantly exploiting you, that is constantly misleading you, that is constantly promoting the interests of the few individuals at your expense. That method should really be able to change. And I'm explaining that. Do not depend on government as a means through which you are going to be socially and economically emancipated. That is fact number 1. Fact number 2, do not depend on your employer as a means through which you are going to be socially and economically emancipated. I have already explained this, and I don't want you to forget, because many times we think this is the only way through which we can acquire social and economic advancement. Now that is a lie. Because we have operated under a lie for a very long time, we end wrongly, we end badly. We don't achieve what we want, and we end up blaming everyone when actually the problem was ours. Do not entirely depend on individuals or organizations that claim to represent you in any platform, whether it is parliament, whether it is at the local government, whether it is at the institutional level. Do not entirely depend on the leadership there, because not all those people who are in those positions of leadership are called to be there. Majority of the people who hold those positions of representation are there because of the benefits, that are related, that are connected with holding that office. They don't go there because they are convinced that really I must use this position to advance the interests of my people who are suffering. Actually, they forget the suffering of the people immediately they reach there.